Well, Broncos country, I just got done watching the worst NFL football game I've ever watched in my life. The Bears and the Seahawks. The Seahawks somehow win the game 6-3. It really made the Broncos and Colts game on Thursday night a couple years back when we had Hackett. It topped that one as one of the worst games you'll ever watch. It was absolutely abysmal. And Broncos country, we should be really pumped up, man. We should be happy that we don't got Caleb Williams as our quarterback. Because I told y'all from the beginning a long time ago, I said it on my Twitter, that dude is not very good at football. I don't know what the hype was. We can get into that on a different episode, but we're talking about Broncos. But the Broncos are getting set now to go to Cincinnati for a Saturday afternoon game, and they've got their boy Riley Moss back on the Denver Broncos lineup. We're going to talk about what does that mean and how much of a boost does he really give this Broncos defense. Well, stay tuned because we're going to get right into that. Before we do, appreciate you guys tuning into the channel. If it's your first time, welcome. Consider subscribing if you're a subscriber. Thank you. Tell a friend, have a friend, tell a friend. I'm so close to that 500 mark, and I'd really appreciate it in advance, man. We're going to have a good time, build this community out. We'll keep talking about the things that Bronco fans care about. So let's get into it, guys. Riley Moss, he is, in Sean Payton's words, ready to go for Saturday's matchup. And damn, are we going to need him against the Cincinnati offense that is absolutely loaded with some of the best playmakers in the NFL, with quarterback, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase is the wide receiver, T. Higgins is wide receiver two absolute studs, probably the best combination in the NFL. Chase Brown is a receiver that's been playing really, really good. So we are going to need Riley Moss and a lot of the defensive playmakers to really step up. And I want to credit Zach Stevens for this awesome tweet because this was really eye-opening when I had seen it. So let me go ahead and pull this up for y'all. So check this out. In the 11 full games that Riley Moss played this year, the Broncos defense has given up an average of 190.7 passing yards per game. And in the three games that he didn't play, they've allowed 299.7. And guys, let me tell you, it ain't like we played unbelievable offenses during that stretch. So 109 pass yards a game difference. It is absolutely crazy how big of an impact Riley Moss seems to have. And like I said, it's not just because he has this uncanny ability to cover really well opposite of pass or 10. It really makes it difficult for these quarterbacks to, find the open guys. They got to, a lot of the times, look for their third or their fourth read. And by that time, the pass rush has got a really good chance to get to him. It's not just that. It allows for this Broncos defense to be able to play in a lot of these dime packages that they like to play, where they have one linebacker and essentially 7 DBs. Or 6 DBs in a lot of the cases too. And that really makes the ability for them to cover a lot better. It also prevents their linebackers from having to cover a lot. And because we know what can happen when that happens. That's kind of the big weakness of this defense is the linebackers in coverage. So very optimistic, a huge, a huge player to have returning to this team. It's really big for this Broncos defense in a multitude of different ways. And like I said, we're going to need him in these games particularly because even though these Bengals have a very, very talented offense, an offense that is, capable of, scoring 30 plus points a game, every single game, they have an offensive line that struggles quite a bit. Joe Burrow is under duress a lot, which I think is kudos to him for being able to play as well as he has been. And so if you make it difficult and you cover up those two receivers the way that I feel like Riley Moss and PS2 can do that, that pass rush is going to be able to have the opportunities to get there and to get there quickly. And, good things happen when our pass rush is cooking like the way it has been. So it's a huge, huge benefit for this Broncos defense. I want to know what you guys think down below about Riley Moss coming back. I think it increases our chances of being able to win this game on the road in the rainy environments quite a bit. Now, when you talk about the rain, right? I think a lot of people, they think back to that Jets game and how, it seemed like Bo Nix was really struggling throwing with a wet football. I think a lot of that was really thrown out of proportion because Aaron Rodgers was struggling too. It was a unique kind of rain. I know we talked about it a long time ago about hurricane rains are different, just how wet the balls were and all that kind of stuff. But Bo Nix has played plenty of games in his college career in the rain. Obviously, he played at Oregon, a place that it rains a lot. He's got very big hands, which obviously helps with wet balls and all that. And it goes to the reason why he hasn't fumbled once this season. So yeah, I'm not overly concerned about it. I think it kind of plays to the Broncos' advantage in a way because you think it's going to limit the pass game at least a little bit, right? It's not going to be as easy of a game to pass the ball in, and if that can help, yeah, the defense, and it allows for Joe Burrow and that offense to not make as many plays against your defense, that's going to be really, really good for us. This is a Bengals defense that, let's face it, they struggle in every facet. We should be able to run the ball at will on them. We should be able to throw the ball at will on them as well. And so, if we can actually stick to the game plan of running the ball well, what we saw in the first half of the Chargers game was unbelievably perfect. And the fact that they stopped running the ball the way that they did and they kind of stopped committing to it was an absolute crime. The biggest mistake that I think Sean Payton made all year from a game planning standpoint. So we need to stick with it, man. I really loved what I saw from Audric Estime. I loved what I saw from Blake Watson. Run those guys. We're going to have Jaleel back. It's going to be one of those things. Now we have 4 running backs. I don't know how we're going to end up ultimately playing this, but we're gonna have to figure it out. But whoever it is, we got to commit to the run. I love how creative we got. We used Marvin Mims in the right way as well. So the offense showed in the last game so many good things, and the fact that they ended up just completely veering away from that and losing the game against the Chargers still bothers me so much. But we should be able to get a lot of yards and hopefully a lot of points against this Bengals team, regardless of the conditions. But it's going to be big, man. It's going to be the small things, and it always is in playoff-like games where we have an ability to clinch, games when we're playing against teams that are playing desperate. They're playing their season's on the line. We're on the road in bad conditions. Special teams is going to be huge. The kicking game is going to be big. We have a massive, massive advantage in the kicking game because obviously of the season that Will Lutz has had. But in addition, their kicker Evan McPherson was put on IR, and so they've had, I don't even know who it is. They signed somebody, uh, and he wasn't really good last year. It was Cade York. Yeah, Cade York really struggled last week. I think they're gonna trot him back out again. I believe this year. I haven't really this week. I haven't really seen anything. So that is an area where I think we can really get an advantage in the kick game and the special teams game as well. But like I said, it's going to be the small things, taking care of the football. We did a good job of that against the Chargers. We did a lot of things that we talked about, the keys to the game, that were really good. But then it was like the penalties were terrible, the undisciplined, the head scratching decisions by Sean Payton and the coaching staff. A lot of crazy stuff, man. But we're gonna have to leave that in the past. We're gonna come out here and we're gonna have to play some really good ball. I really liked what I saw, at least what it felt like from the attitude of the team, the way that Bo Nix was talking, and the presser on Tuesday, and really what Sean Payton had talked about today in terms of their preparation for handling the conditions. This is it, guys. This is going to be, man. This is a statement game for this Broncos team, an ability for them to earn a playoff berth, to go out there against an opponent that's a lot better than the record shows in their house. They're playing for their season, and you have a good opportunity to really make a statement, and I think gain a lot of confidence. I like the way that this team has responded in the past once we've coming off of losses. So we'll have to see. There's going to be a lot to talk about in this game, regardless of what the outcome is with these next 2 games as we make this playoff push. But really big news for the Broncos coming with Riley Moss returning this game. We got Jilo McLaughlin. Broncos are very healthy again at this part of the season. It is impressive how healthy this team has been. So you got to love that. You got to love what Sean Payton has done with the training staff and everything. I think that's been one of the biggest keys in terms of the Broncos being able to over exceed expectations and overachieve by quite a bit this season. So kudos to them. I love it. We're going to have a really in-depth breakdown tomorrow. We're going to talk about the key matchups. I'm going to give you guys my prediction. We're going to go through the game really in depth, like we typically do on Saturdays, but tomorrow is essentially a Saturday for the Broncos. So stay tuned for that. Let me know what you guys think below. How we feeling about this game? How we feeling about Riley Moss? Do you think he's going to be that X factor that we need to be able to get the win in this game? I certainly think he will be, for sure. And I cannot wait to see number 21 back out there again. All right, Broncos fans. Go Broncos, baby. Let's get this dub. Spend time with those you love the most. And until next time, peace out.